Well, here's a Times Now exclusive news break that we are bringing to you. Times Now has accessed thermal images which show how a group of 6 terrorists were trying to infiltrate into Indian territory from the Bobia area in Hiranagar Sector of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the images that have been accessed by Times Now show that the terrorists, while attempting to infiltrate, opened fire at the BSF post and the patrol vehicle as well. An alert BSF immediately retaliated. These are exclusive images that Times Now has managed to access. These are images that show a group of about 6 terrorists who were trying to infiltrate into the Indian side from the Bobia area in the Hiranagar sector of Jammu and Kashmir. Pradeep Datta is on the phone line. Pradeep, give us more details about this group of terrorists. Of course, we can see in these thermal images how the Indian security forces retaliated to fire from their side.
See, this incident took place at about 11:45 when a group of about heavily armed 6 terrorists, they tried to sneak into this side of the border from the area sector, taking advantage of the undulated terrain, darkness and the thick vegetation across the border. They came closer to the fence. This was a forced infiltration bid. It was different from the earlier infiltration attempts which had been made by the terrorists. When I say forced infiltration attempt, this time they tried, the modus operandi was different. They opened fire on the BSF patrol vehicle and also tried to target the BSF border outpost. The idea was to engage the BSF personnel so that they can find the gap and sneak into the side of the border. But alert BSF personnel, they opened fire. The CCTV footage which you can see on the camera right now, this is, you can see that how they are using the heavily armed weapons which they were carrying with them to target the BSF post, and BSF-2 is retaliating. The alert BSF personnel gave them a befitting reply. One of the terrorists was injured, and later when they fired the illuminating bomb to find the location, they saw that they were able to drag one of the injured terrorists back to the Pakistan side, but firing continued for quite some time. This was the 30-second ceasefire violation. We have seen that to facilitate the infiltration, the Pakistani rangers from the nearby post, they also tried to provide the cover fire, but the befitting reply from the BSF was able to foil their nefarious design. The area where from they were trying to infiltrate is just only about 50 kilometers away from the Jammu city. Had they succeeded in their ugly design, they would have really created a mayhem, but BSF personnel foiled their attempt. This time
as you're pointing out, Pradeep, obviously, security forces were able to retaliate and fire back and prevent this infiltration bid. But we're given to understand that perhaps one of the terrorists could have been injured in this. He was perhaps dragged back to the Pakistani side. And also, when did this incident take place? These are visuals, I understand, from Wednesday.
See, it was at about 11:45 p.m. last night when a group of about heavily armed 6 terrorists, they tried to sneak into this side of the border. This is Hiranagar sector. This is about 50 to 60 kilometers away from the Jammu city. They tried to take advantage of the darkness and the thick vegetation. These terrorists came closer to the fence, and this time they wanted to force their infiltration. The modus operandi was different. They wanted to target the BSF post. They even opened fire on the BSF petrol vehicle. But the alert BSF personnel, they retaliated, and in retaliatory fire, one of the terrorists was injured. They came to know about this when they fired the illuminating bomb. The illuminating bomb is basically a device which they fire to find out exactly, they illuminate the sky so that they can find the location of the terrorists who were trying to sneak in. At that point of time, they found that these other 5 terrorists, they were able to drag the injured terrorists and flee back to Pakistan side. And they moved towards the Pakistani Rangers post. This clearly exposes Pakistan, that how Pakistan has been continuously aiding and abetting terror. Ever since the surgical strike has taken place, we have seen that the Pakistan has been making desperate attempts. Earlier, it has been from the line of control, and this was the first such big attempt from the international border, but they didn't succeed because the BSF troops gave them a befitting reply.